Welcome to Coffee and a Weather Map with Jeff. It is Friday, August 22nd, 2025, and we'll take a look at things. Sorry I didn't get a post out yesterday, or anything for that matter, but we will get things started here. Gonna do a quick look at the radar. We'll see in northern Michigan, there's a few showers, especially in the UP, that are moving across there with a little feature, which we'll take a look at here in a second. That's also kind of connected to that same feature. It's a cold front that's moving across the northern plains, and that will affect our weather here in the next couple of days. And then down in South Texas, and currently the rain showers and thunderstorms are off of the middle Texas coast, but they are expected to move inland here, especially by the afternoon, probably more or less with the sea breeze and as the moisture starts to stream back in again. And we'll take a look at that here in a bit as well. If we take a look at the bigger picture with the upper air positions, we have the jet streak that's moving across the northern plains. That's part of what's going on to get that moving. It's been slowly moving across the country here. That low in Canada is pretty wrapped up, but it's got a nice jet streak. It gets to about 70 or 80 knots there at the center of it. As it continues to move to the east, we're expecting that would be part of what's going to kick off any showers and thunderstorms here in the next couple of days. As we look at the surface analysis this morning, you can see that cold front that's associated with it. The main surface low is way up here in Canada. So that's why it's moving so slowly. Everything is kind of stacked up. There's no difference in position with height as much, and that tends to mean a slower system moving across. But you can see that cold front is really trying to push across the area pretty well there, with a couple of secondary lows along the front going down into the Dakotas. This is going to be the main weather maker that's going to come through here in the next couple of days. First, to give us chances for showers and thunderstorms across lower Michigan, but also then pretty decent little cool down coming up, as some people have been saying, a taste of fall. As we go further south into Texas, there is a weak front that is trying to sag south. Sorry, South Texas, it's not going to get all the way down there to cool you off, but it will be close enough. And you can see that little dotted line there. That is the area where they of low pressure. It's a trough of low pressure, and there's another one that's just off the coast, and that's what's causing all of our showers and thunderstorms, and what will help kick off the stuff for the rest of the afternoon. Taking a quick look at the rest of what's going on around there, there's not too much in the way of Hurricane Erin left on the shores, except for rip currents and flood inundation. We'll take a brief look at that here coming up. Otherwise, we've got areas of fog that have formed, that they've got special weather statements out across the area. There is a flood watch up in South Dakota associated with some of those thunderstorms. I think those are lake wind advisories going on with up north in the Dakotas and in Montana. A few areas of smoke from local forest fires in Idaho, Wyoming, and Colorado. So air quality will be inhibited. But then the big thing on the west coast, that is, and down into the desert southwest, is the heat. We continue with the extreme heat warning down in Arizona and in Southern California, as well as the advisories that run up the coast. And then there's a few areas of extreme heat warnings that are in the Pacific Northwest as well, where this time of year they too tend to get them. They're not foggy and drizzly as some people make them out all year round. All right, as I was saying, a quick look at the tropics. We have Erin, which is going to continue to move out. We'll just do a quick little thing here. Boom, red. There we go. Erin's expected to go in this basic direction, giving us, keeping it away from land. The only problems that I was mentioning is that right along the shoreline, we do have issues with rip currents and flood inundation, and I'll take a quick look at that here in a bit. Otherwise, the things that we've been watching are these two. This could develop into something with a at least some of the members of the models. Let's clean that up a bit. Some of the members of the models have been showing this as possible hurricane, but weak like a Cat 1. If it goes out this way, if it stays in this way, it stays maybe tropical storm or less. So we'll see what happens. This one right here, that's in the main development region moving across. So far, the models are showing that its strength would stay at only a depression all the way through into the Caribbean Sea. So we'll see what happens. The impacts then would be mainly rain with that, but we'll see how things play out here over the next couple of days. There isn't a lot of support for it, but down on the southern track, but that is a possibility. All right. So to take a look at with what's going on, we do have an area of general thunderstorms, and then there's this area of marginal in the UP and Wisconsin down to Minnesota, basically the plain down through the plains through Iowa, Nebraska, and into Wyoming and Colorado. Associated with that front moving out of the area today out of the Dakotas. A few areas of marginal rain, marginally heavy rain expected with that as well, and all the way down into the desert Southwest, where they're still getting some monsoonal moisture coming up out of Mexico. And then along the Gulf Coast, we have the front that kind of comes off of the, it gets on the coast of the Atlantic there in Georgia, across through the Gulf Coast states to there just in southeastern Texas. And it's expected to affect places all the way down into South Texas. So that's for today. By tomorrow, we do still have general thunder across most of it, and just about in the Great Lakes, mainly the upper and, well, most of the Great Lakes, all the way down to the Gulf Coast. Those shadings of green are marginal heavy rain, so we'll have to be careful about that, especially in the southern Appalachian Mountains. They've been hit quite a bit here since Helene last year, so there's still a fair amount of flood potential in there, going all the way down to the Gulf Coast. There is some flood potential out in the west as well, with those same thunderstorms that we were talking about for today going into tomorrow. And when I first looked at the day 3 general thunderstorm up here in the upper Great Lakes and looking at Michigan, that looked like the way that we would draw up the chance for precipitation when we were expecting lake effect snow. After the front goes through, I guess it's possible that there could be some lake effect type of rain showers and thunderstorms. Temperatures are going to get cool, and with the water temperatures fairly warm, that would be a possibility. No, it won't necessarily mean that there's a precursor to lake effect snow, but it is going to be an interesting weekend as we go into Sunday. Down the East Coast, we continue general thunderstorms with excessive heavy rain issues in the Appalachian Mountains and along the Atlantic coast and in portions of Florida, as well as then out west. There is a marginal risk for severe weather out in Kansas and the plains of eastern Colorado, a little bit of Nebraska as well. All right, as I kind of mentioned a little bit with Hurricane Erin, you can see the south end of it is getting fairly well entrained with dry air, and it is being sheared apart. The center of circulation is well south and outside of the area. It's still a hurricane currently, but it is expected to continue to move off to the east-northeast, out away from the land, and continue moving on. The big cloud shield is continuing to move up over Canada, and it will affect the Canadians as far as storm surge and such going up in that area. You can see the other wave that's going on right now down here to the south. This is the main one that was in the red. Is expected to develop here within the next 24 hours to 7 days. This right now has very little organization to it. There's a few clusters of thunderstorms, but nothing to watch out. So it's not going to happen, at least during the first part of today. And then here's that one that's expected to go into the Caribbean. Again, not a whole lot in terms of organization, although there is a sense of a little bit of spin to it. We'll see. Not a lot of convection on this point, as I kind of pointed that out with all these. And then there's one out in the middle. I guess right out in the middle there, this. We'll see what happens with that one. At this point, the main issue though is rip currents today across the Atlantic seaboard from Miami all the way up to Maine, and I would suspect that Nova Scotia and New Brunswick and Newfoundland and Prince Edward Island on their Atlantic facing portions will have surge issues as well, and rip currents, possible flood inundations there right along the beaches. There are some areas that are starting to get out of it with moderate there in North Carolina and Onslow Bay, going all the way down to south of roughly Charleston or Georgetown. There's a moderate there, as the waves aren't coming directly in, so you're not getting quite the the angle that you need for rip currents, but it's still a moderate, so don't take that as that there's nothing happening. Otherwise, it's high all across that area. In South Texas, just happens to be that there is a low risk of rip currents as well. All right, to get into the local stuff, again, temperatures are going to be running basically from the upper 80s along the Middle Texas coast all the way out to roughly 100 in the Rio Grande Plains. You can see a good portion of the brush country is going to be up around 100, between 95 and 100 most of the time. And then the coastal plains and the Victoria Crossroads look like they're going to be generally 90 to 95 today. A little cooler than it has been the last couple of days, but still, it's going to be continues to have a summer heat going on. You do see that there are scattered showers and thunderstorms expected. The main thing's going to start right along the coastal front, along the coast with the sea breeze, and move inland, and then it kind of decreases as it goes further out. So we'll see how well they hold together. I have seen where we were expecting things to be scattered and fall apart by the time it gets into the brush country, but then showers and thunderstorms just continue to move with that sea breeze front all the way into Cotulla and Laredo. So that will be something there to look at. Okay, so the South Texas beach forecast, very high UV index, but we do have a low rip current risk, scattered thunderstorms today. So just be careful if you're out on the beach, trying to avoid the heat, which would be fun in the upper 80s. But that is something to keep an eye on. If you see lightning on an approaching thunderstorm, or if you hear thunder, you need to get under cover or go home and pack up. The beach forecast hazards for Michigan, though, winds have kind of calmed down, so now we're at a low risk of rip currents across the entire lower peninsula and those beaches facing Lake Michigan, Lake Huron in the upper peninsula as well. Temperatures, as I was saying, for northern Michigan, or for lower Michigan, just in and of itself. Today we've got roughly lower 80s across most of the area, with the upper 70s, mid to upper 70s along the northwest portions of lower Michigan. Then tomorrow, for Saturday, temperatures get a little cooler. You see those mid 70s making a little bit more inroads, getting into most of northern lower Michigan, except for the extreme northeastern lower. Southeastern lower looks like it's going to maintain in the lower 80s, while it's anywhere from upper 80s to upper 70s to lower 80s across West Michigan. And then we start getting into it, and I actually go out 4 days on these forecasts. So here's for Sunday. Northern Michigan, well, we've got 65 degrees in Gaylord. So we're looking at 65 to 70 degrees for highs on Sunday in northern lower Michigan. If you get down into West Michigan, there'll be some upper 60s there near Cadillac, Big Rapids. You're going to get, it looks like 70s, lower 70s as you go further southwest. Get the mid to upper 70s down in the Detroit area. And then on Monday, that's the cool day, 59 for a high in Gaylord. Well, it's not surprising at 1,400 feet, and then also all the cool air that comes in off of the lakes, they end up being a little bit chillier than most places. Traverse City is going to be 64, it looks like. So we're looking at upper 50s to mid 60s across northern Michigan, mid 60s across West Michigan. So once you get south of Cadillac and Manistee, you're mid to upper 60s across the area, and then it looks like right around 70, maybe the lower 70s into the Detroit area. And with that, I thank you for listening. Give me a thumbs or a like and subscribe on YouTube. Keep following on Facebook, X, or on Instagram.